eSports Corner. That's right. And you're gonna want to stick around for this.
Yeah, I didn't give you time to finish there. I wanted to get that bumper out of the way.
Right.
I spent a solid.
Let's move on.
I spent a solid $5 on that Rocky Balboa impersonator, and it was money well spent.
Totally worth it.
All right, take it away.
So I only have two things I want to go over this week because it's been an interesting week so far. If you haven't been watching it, the EU HTC Open division ran for 2 days this week. Cast on Grubby's channel, follow Grubby, twitch.tv/follow Grubby. And he had Tetra with him. They did a really good job, in my opinion. I enjoyed watching their coverage, and they also have been uploading videos to YouTube from Blizzard has been of the game. So I think the coverage overall has been good. NA starts next week on the 23rd, which is next Monday. You can see that on the Arcane 8 channel. That's going to be JHow and Solid Jake. The other thing is starting Friday at noon Eastern, so early for you people on the West Coast like Mystic, HTC proper starts. I'm psyched. I can't wait. A lot of games going Friday and Saturday. It's going to be great to watch. And then I think the final thing I wanted to mention that actually I just saw Daz add to the news section of the notes. The Heroes of the Storm eSports site, the new one, the one that actually works and is actually communicating information to you, is live now.
Yeah.
And I actually love it. It's so much nicer.
It is. Like the old one, it was tough. Like I remember trying to follow the qualifiers. It'd take you to like an external website to follow the tournament. You couldn't get the results very easily. But now it looks like it's more like a proper traditional sports website. You can go, you can get standings, you can get scores, you can get links to the VODs and the games too as they're being streamed. So it seems a lot more polished as compared to what it was before. And I was talking to one of the guys on my team, Black Magic, and we were talking about exactly this. We're like, they need a new site, and we were saying, we'd be surprised if they didn't launch one before HGC because it'd just be too hard to follow it without one.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of that new website, and we'll have the link to that in the show notes as well, along with some of the other stuff that Liqiud was talking about. So
I mean, with this new website, do you guys think there'll be a like fantasy league or something that Blizzard will set up eventually, so that people can get into that, same as like football or any of that stuff, where people can choose their own players and see how they do and whatnot?
I don't know that Blizzard will set it up. But somebody did set up, they called it Roster Apocalypse, I think, which is exactly that. It's Fantasy HGC. I will see if I can find that and put it in the show notes.
Yeah, in terms of fantasy sports, that'd be amazing. It's something that I've done for hockey on an annual basis too, and it really get to invest it into players or teams that you might not have been interested in following before because suddenly they're on your fantasy team, right? So you get a little bit more invested in the stats and how everything's shaken up too. So that'd be pretty darn cool. Okay, so maybe before we move on though, like, can you remind us like what the format is of HTC? Because I keep forgetting and people have been asking me.
So. You're gonna put me on the spot like that, because they just changed it. So I don't want to get this backwards. So give me half a second. I just want to refresh my mind because they're doing a number of online tournaments to be followed by a LAN tournament. And I don't remember what they called it. So give me a second, and I can tell you for sure.
Okay. Well, how about just for the first few weeks and stuff? Yeah, perfect.
Yep. So the first 5 weeks are going to be regular season, all online play. That's starting Friday is week 1. They're going to do 5 weeks of that. They're going to do a bye. Then they're going to have a clash, which is going to be this is NA right now. They're going to have the Western clash. Then they're going to have another bye. Then the Eastern clash, and then that's going to be the end of the first 5 weeks, right? And that takes it into like month 3, I think. EU's going to do something very, very similar where they go through 5 weeks of regular season, then they go into a bye week, then they go into Western Clash. Western Clash is going to be a LAN tournament, And that's going to be for EU. That's going to be at Katowice again, which they did do last year for one of their tournaments. I don't remember what that was. Everybody will be in Katowice March 3rd through 5th. That will be the first LAN event of this year. And that includes NA, EU, Korea, and China. Now, one of the things that actually, since you brought it up, and now I'm thinking about it and like getting into my groove, Koreans are actually pretty disappointed. So if you've watched Korea or Chinese play, they have this huge deal where like league play is actually in a studio and the two teams are in their boxes and they're playing and there's a crowd, and they announced that for this year there will be no crowd. It's all going to be online again. So I think it was the Koreans that were the most disappointed in that. I was reading a couple articles about that, and they're going to follow the same kind of schedule that everybody else is. So all the regions should be playing a very similar schedule. Now, South America is missing from the schedule. We don't know what that means. Same with Central America. So the Latin American teams don't seem to be represented here. I know Taiwan and south from there, so like Taiwan, Australia, they have traditionally had teams. Taiwan is where Please Buff Arthas is from, if I remember correctly. They're not on the schedule, but there's something supposedly happening with them. It's just a question of what is happening. And all that news, like all of that, and this is why I'm so happy with the new website. So like, I'm just going to bring it right back around for you, Daz. All of that can be found on the new HTC Esports page.
Yeah, and it sounds like this is kind of Blizzard's first crack at doing more of like the structured format, so there's probably going to be some kinks along the way. I'm sure by mid-season they're going to have everything running very smoothly like a well-oiled machine.